Ba 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 na 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 na.
We are very sorry for everyone.
Okay.
Ba 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 ba. What's up, guys?
Okay, we are here. Robbie, Chris, Spencer, Connor, Camden, the five of us
Thank
from
God, I'm
Deep
not
Sheep.
last.
We're all gonna sit here and we're gonna discuss The Last Jedi.
It's the anniversary of Connor's first ever video on the Deep Sheep channel.
Oh my god.
No, it's not.
This is the Rogue One discussion video, you motherfucker.
Yep.
Holy shit.
And
You're telling me this is gonna get posted a year from that?
no,
No.
Well, anyway, my name's Connor.
Hi, Connor.
I am Spencer.
I'm from.
I'm
All right, no, I was just guys. Stop. So, Last Jedi.
My name is Billy,
I-
and I'm freaking out.
Shut the fuck up.
I'll take one step forward.
Star Wars The Last Jedi is a movie that came out this year. It is a sequel to The Force Awakens, second in the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. And for me, I was kind of disappointed personally in the movie. Overall, there were a lot of things that I didn't like. There were a lot of stupid things. Overall, I think it was good because you can't really fucking fuck Star Wars, you know? 'Cause, Star
Unless
Wars
you're
is
Lucas.
my favorite series ever, so you can't really ruin it. But I think for the first time in a long time, I've been kind of Star Wars poop, you know?
Okay.
Okay. Hi, my name's Christopher.
Hi, Christopher.
Chris.
I'm
Hi,
addicted
Chris.
to methamphetamine. But what I am addicted to is
Are
Star
you
Wars.
40
So,
how long have you
Star
been
Wars:
sober?
Last Jedi is a very hotly contested movie. I really enjoyed the movie, despite having seen it in 3D the first time around. I've now seen it in 2D, so I've seen the movie twice. And my opinion was basically clarified because a lot of people talk about how they're a little confused of certain things after seeing the movie. And when you watch it a second time, it does help clarify it. But overall, I found the movie very enjoyable. I can recognize that there are problems with it. And I think some people are just overreacting.
So, for me, before getting right into
What's
what
your
I thought
name?
about, I'm Spencer.
Hi,
Hi,
Spencer.
So, before going into what I thought about Last Jedi, I want to point out that Star Wars The Force Awakens was my favorite film of 2015. A lot of people were really, really divided about that, and they said it was a retread of A New Hope, and whether or not you believe that to be true or not, that's a different discussion entirely. But going into Last Jedi, I was really excited about it, because it's Star Wars, you know? It was one of my most anticipated films of the year. And after having seen it, it's been a week since I've seen it, but after seeing it, I feel like it was good but not great. I think that there are some flaws in its storytelling, which we'll get into in our spoiler discussion, but overall I think the film is good. It's not great for me, but I think it's good.
All right.
Alright, hi everyone. My name is Camden,
Hi, Camden.
Hi,
Hi,
Camden.
Camden.
and I am addicted to Star Wars.
Wow.
You fucking love Star Wars!
You've been on withdrawal for 10 years.
Yeah, I know.
Or
But,
2.
I just started using again.
No, I meant
And then-
from fucking Revenge till Force.
Look, man. Look.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right,
So,
I'm looking.
my overall opinion of the movie. that wasn't
Oh man,
it, but
the Star Wars is kicking in.
That's Breaking Bad.
yeah. But my overall opinion, I really liked the movie because I thought it had a lot of changes to it, and a lot of people I understand may not like that, but I think they're going to be doing these movies for at least 20, 30 more years. You got to change it up again. J.J. Abrams did a great job with Episode 7, but I think some changes need to be made, and I don't think too many risks were taken in Episode 7, and I think later on down the line people will appreciate the risks they took more in Episode 8, but I do understand that, well, at least for me, there's really only one huge flaw in storytelling, and we'll get into that later. But then other than that, I thought the changes they did and the references they made to the old ones were really good.
All right.
Okay.
Robbie?
Hi
You-
everyone.
you
My
ready to
name
give a
is
blowjob?
okay. My name is Robbie.
High
salsa.
Tia
We all
Paula.
almost thought the same thing.
All right. And my opinion on The Last Jedi is I personally loved the film. I really did like it. Connor, shut up. I didn't say anything during yours. Anyways, I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It was just in general, I did notice that there were some minor flaws here and there, but besides that, I was able to get over like the few the few issues that I noticed to have a lot of fun with this movie. I know like there's a lot of cool things that they did with the Force that were new. Kylo Ren was such a badass. I think just in general, this was if this is the way that Star Wars is going into Episode 9, I am all for it. I really, really fucking like this movie. I was so happy with it.
All
Can we not curse, please?
Damn it!
Yeah,
I'm just
like
kidding.
this
You can say whatever the fuck
you
you
can
want.
say
this
fuck.
was going to be rated PG-13, and now we have said the F word once, so if we say it again, R rating.
I said fuck too.
R
I said fuck a
rating!
couple
I
times.
think we said it like right away, probably.
Okay.
Without
well,
even realizing it. I'm
What's
sure
the
you-
average? Yeah, like the average length in a video takes for fuck to be said in a deep sheet video.
No
We
idea.
should have someone calculate that for us.
Someone calculate that.
Fans, do your
luck is
job.
impossible. I know
Okay.
you'll do that shit.
All right, Last Jedi. So,
So
we're
spoiler
now
time.
diving
Anyone
into
now?
spoilers.
If you do not
Yeah.
want to hear spoilers, bye.
Click away now. Yeah.
Now, should
All
we
right,
do
so-
something? Should we do something where we give the same people who went in order? So like Connor, then Chris, then me, then Camden, then Robbie again, but with spoilers. Like,
Well, I was
Or-
thinking because right now Robbie and Connor have the most different opinion. Robbie seems to pretty much love the movie, and then Connor
Yeah.
seems very, very disappointed by it. So I feel like they should kind of go first to kind of set it up, and then the rest of us
Yeah.
will kind of be in the middle, just like leaning either one way or the other, or just staying in the middle. I think that
we'll
would
be the
kind of
mediators
format
of this
Yeah.
rehabilitation.
it. All right, so Connor,
Here's the thing, right?
go into detail. Why were you disappointed by this movie?
So, me being me, Konar being Konar, right? Huge Star Wars fan. I've fucking been watching. All right, shit. I've been watching Star Wars since I was like -5 years old, right? I've been watching I
Wow.
watched the original trilogy on VHS, like all the way up to like I could like actually process information, and like it's just been ingrained in my memory, like everything. And like I've always been into Star Wars, like extended universe stuff, whole bunch of shit like that. And going into this movie, like I would be fine with changes, and like I'm fine with additions to new things, because obviously you have to do that, and if it's just the same movie over and over again, it's gonna suck dick. But I feel for me, being a huge Star Wars fan, some of the changes just kind of just didn't work for me. Now, I'm not saying that it could work for other people, but for me, and I think for a lot of like more like hardcore Star Wars fans at least, like it's more understandable that you would not like the changes as much. Like personally, fucking like now this is up to like your own opinion, but I personally didn't like as much when Leia fucking floated and shit back into the ship.
It was a little bit weird for me too.
Okay, wait, Robbie, you liked that moment?
Yes, I really did.
Okay, wait, Camden, did you like that? It was one other person I met who liked that moment. So far, everyone I've met doesn't like that moment, and I like that moment.
When I first watched it, I was like, or at first I was worried because I thought that's how the tone of this was going to be, was don't take risks, and it's like anything can happen to anyone. But if you think more about the history of Star Wars and like them hinting so much about Leia being special in some sort of way, and now this theme of anyone can be a Jedi, like anyone can be one with the Force, then I do like that moment. But when I first watched it, I was like, oh, really? Oh, it would have been better if you died. But now I don't think it would have been better if she died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I feel like my opinion on that moment will change depending on what they do with these next films. Like, I feel like if that's the start of something, just like a new era of the Force, like I will really probably love that moment.
I mean,
I
liked...
think it was really cool because, like, in general, it was just like to showcase, because Leia had never, like, we've never seen her
Yeah.
dabble in the Force before, and it's also a great way to show like the Force is in everybody. The Force isn't just the Jedi, and it's not just the Sith. You know, it's everybody can be attached to the Force in some way.
I'm
But
fine with
but
that,
in
dude.
their separate order, like separate kinds of way. You know, it's not like lifting rocks compared to floating to safety.
Yeah, and I'm completely fine with that, and I actually prefer that over fucking midi fucking chlorians that they introduced in the prequel. Fucking space aids, fucking STD injections. No, you don't get to inject yourself with the Force. Anybody can be born with the Force, or anybody can like learn how to use it. That's why
AIDS.
that's why the Force is so fucking amazing. But I don't think that you could just fucking survive being out in space and just float to safety just cuz, and nobody else has been able to do that before when she really hasn't shown anything, and then she's just able to do it like that.
For me, it was
necessary.
There's a big prediction because Leia kind of put herself in a bubble, you know, and there's a big prediction that someone else has done that sort of thing before. Anakin in the volcano thing, and he's like basically on fire, like his legs and an arm cut off. Like there's no way this fucking person's gonna live. But people think now that like maybe he himself used a force bubble kind of thing as long as he could until people got him and then saved him and
But
stuff.
I can
and
believe
made
that
him become Darth Vader.
I can believe that more because he's the fucking chosen one. He's supposed to be one of the most powerful Force users to ever have lived. He was fucking.
Yeah, but then this one's saying you don't have to be, and they've also hinted that Leia has like special shit too. It wasn't just like this brand new thing that like, hey, Leia's fucking amazing now. Like,
no, I know
she's
that.
always
She's
been
always
hinted
been
like that.
Yeah, I know it's always been hinted that way. I get that, but I don't think it's always been hinted to the fact where like she's about to fucking just turn into like the best, like the most amazing Force user ever, and like use this. Like
I think it was a life or death
thing.
response. Like she wasn't fully aware of what she was doing. It just kind of happened. I really liked the moment because at first I thought, oh shit, Princess Leia just fucking died. Because we all kind of were expecting Princess Leia would probably die this movie because Carrie Fisher's not around. But when it happened, I was like, okay. I mean, huh. All right.
That would be sucky if that's the way that she went.
And then when it went back to her,
It
I
would
was
just be
like,
a
wait a second. And then all the camera was swelling up, and the music, I was like, no fucking way. And then she fucking lived, and she floated back. And that was incredible. Especially because, like, it's this, like, frail old woman that in real life has been dead for a year, and we all know this is, like, the last time we're ever going to see her. And we get to see her character for the first time ever, one of the most famous, like, movie characters of all time, floating through space and bringing herself basically back from the dead in a way. And granted, she's in a coma for most of the movie after that, so it's not like she's perfectly fine, you know, oh, that didn't affect her at all. Like, no, it still fucked her up, but it was basically like a life or death response, like a survival instinct that she tapped into the Force, pretty much.
The one thing that I do think that it is worth bringing up is that supposedly, and I could be wrong about this, but supposedly for Episode 9, there have been reports saying that Carrie Fisher, like, despite being given the rights by her family to digitally restore her in Episode 9, apparently they're not going to do that. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with Carrie Fisher's character.
I think
If she just isn't going to appear, because it seemed like at the end of Last Jedi.
But yeah, before we dip into that, I just would like to say about that, like with her whole floating and shit. I didn't necessarily like it, but I think I can live with that. I can live with that thing. Like that's not what one of the things that kind of like disappointed me about the movie, but I was just kind of like about that part.
Because the internet was calling it like the Mary Poppins routine or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly just the
people didn't
clothes.
like it.
I think it was mainly just the clothes that she was
Oh,
wearing.
Mary Poppins, y'all!
No, I think for the next movie, because this movie ended with the idea that the war is just beginning and all that, so I think the next one's gonna take place several years later, and we're deep into the war. Like the rebellion is back in full swing, and I think it's just gonna kind of start with like, yeah, she died a while ago, and Poe Dameron's like the leader of the resistance now.
Mm-hmm. Like there's nowhere else they can really take it if they're not going to be able, like they're not going to CGI restore her. Because like
Well,
you
they
can't
could,
really just say like,
but they won't.
oh yeah, she died on the way to the planet or whatever the fuck. If it's gonna start seconds after. Something I really
Yeah, is
did
that-
like.
yeah, is
something
that
I really
odd
did
to you
like
guys?
about the Last Jedi was that unlike most other Star Wars and most other of the episodes, this was the first Star Wars film to start like literally seconds after Force Awakens ended.
Yeah.
I really
that
liked
was
that.
cool.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was cool. I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of like, that was that like I kind of was, but then at the same time I was like, damn, like this is fucking like, holy shit, right?
Well, actually, that's not true because 4 and Rogue One.
Yeah, but that's not a fucking real one, all right?
Yeah.
It's not a real one. Get that fucking
They're all
thing
dead.
shit outta here.
They're all gone.
That is something that's worth mentioning though. Is like, what if it does take place like right after? And
If it takes place right
like,
after,
would you
that
guys
would
be
fucking
disappointed that?
retarded. I would be
Like,
so
would you guys be
disappointed
that one of the most iconic female characters in like cinematic history was just killed off screen or was like kind of brushed under the rug? Because it seemed like at the end of Last Jedi, she still had a pretty prominent role in the story.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
apparently she was originally supposed to be like, or a lot of fans at least speculated this, that Han would have a big role in 7, Luke would have a big role in 8, and Leia would have a big role in 9. And now that Carrie Fisher's dead, I think they're gonna have to change some storyline to it. And I don't think they can do what they originally wanted to anymore unless they recast her. Which, if they do that, you recast and you become, or like the possibly the most iconic movie heroine ever is just changed for one movie, and that's kind of weird. Or you CGI her, and it's like you just do what Rogue One did, and I really didn't like how they did that. They should have just recasted the guy. But to recast Leia is different, and
Yeah.
so I really don't know what they're gonna do.
the only thing they could do is have like a family member of hers that maybe looks like her play her. That's the only way I've seen where it's like Straight Outta Compton. The only, like, Ice Cube knew the only person who would play him was his son, and that was like one of the most big things about the movie. Everyone was like, "Wow, his son kind of looks like him. He really acts like him. He really did a great job."
And then Paul Walker, how his brother
Yeah,
yeah.
That was good.
So that's maybe the only way
I
to
think
do
just
that.
in general, it's very interesting to see like the very like contrasting opinions upon us because like for those you don't know, Star Wars, I didn't end up viewing it until right before Force Awakens, and now I'm a diehard, like I'm a huge fucking fan of Star Wars. Like I
Yeah,
love
Robbie.
anything
Now
Star Wars.
that's actually a really interesting point because I think one of the reasons why I didn't like it that much, and I think there's a higher chance of you not liking this movie if you've been with Star Wars your entire life. And
That's not true.
I've been with
No,
Star
I
Wars my
said-
entire
no,
life
no,
as
no.
well.
Listen, I'm not saying that you automatically happens. I'm saying that you have a higher chance. That's one of the reasons why I didn't like it, is because like everything that I've had before just kind of like didn't really match with what I wanted with this movie.
I think
I don't think it's really a higher chance. It's more of just what you thought about change it. Like, what you think about change. Like, some people don't like change, some people do like change, some people it depends on what the change is. But I don't think being an OG fan has to do with what you feel about change.
No, like, all right, whatever.
Like for example, so Connor, your dad has been with Star Wars since the beginning, right? And he didn't like the movie either. And my dad's been with Star Wars since the very beginning, and he really liked the movie. So
Yeah,
it really,
and what I'm not saying like that if you're an OG fan, you like just automatically.
I know you're saying it's a higher chance.
I
think
don't think if
that-
somebody just joined into Star Wars, they're gonna dislike this movie.
yeah, I think the reason people are disappointed is because they went into the movie with really high expectations. They went into it thinking about, okay, who are Rey's parents? Snoke is probably Doctor.
Dr. Strange.
Dr. Pelagus, yeah, Darth Pelagus or
Pelagus.
something, or fucking like Mace Windu Reborn. I heard that was a theory at one point. That's dumb, but
Yeah.
anyway. And then Rey, like she's
Baldy.
Obi-Wan's daughter, even though time-wise that doesn't make sense at all. It would be Obi-Wan's granddaughter, but what the fuck ever. And you know all this shit. So many theories, and this movie really kind of just said, fuck your theories. Like Snoke, he's just kind of a nobody. Rey, she's a nobody. Like it's anticlimactic in a way, but if like when you understand what Rian Johnson was going for, you can kind of see why he was doing that, because he was trying to take Star Wars away from the Skywalker saga. Every Star Wars movie has been tied to the Skywalker, so I kind of think it might be a good thing that Princess Leia isn't a main focus of the final episode, because that now all of the original casts, like the original trio, aren't going to be a part of it. I mean, maybe Luke will be ghost form, but the story is now moved on. It's about newer characters. They need to bring themselves away from this saga of destiny and that you're born with the name, so that's why you're super powerful. And, oh, you're Darth Vader's son or daughter or grandson or whatever. Instead, it's about nobodies. It's about the Force and how anyone can have that power. Hence the ending of the film about the little boy who had been given this little spark of hope from the Resistance, just a little ring. And that moment with Luke Skywalker, like, brought about this hope. And at the end of the movie, I rewatched the movie, and I definitely saw he used the Force to grab the broom, which was a really cool little detail.
That was cool.
That was so
I
cool.
enjoyed that.
That was litty clitty.
Yeah.
When
I see.
When he did that, I was the only one in my friend group that went and saw it. And I when we first saw it a few days ago, I was the only one in our friend group that noticed it. And they didn't. Like, some of them didn't believe me, but then they were like, "Oh yeah, I kind of saw that too." But I was just like, "Yeah, that was real. Like that was so nonchalantly awesome, and I loved it."
Yeah, I must have been just really subtle because I noticed it too on my viewing, and I remember like talking with the people that I saw it with, and they were like, "No, I didn't notice that."
I didn't notice it the first time.
I noticed it.
Yeah,
and
I think you really had to just be looking at the screen. Like it was so subtle.
Well, it was on the very
the
left.
3D
It was on like the
fucking
bottom
confusing
left
shit.
corner.
Yeah, it was like you had to be paying attention to exactly
My
like what was
friend-
going on.
My friend,
Especially
Jordan,
if you're in 3D and he pulls the broom off the screen.
Yeah.
my friend Jordan, he was sitting
He
next to me,
throws it at you.
and when I gasped when that happened, he was like, "What? He grabbed the fucking broom? So what?"
With the Force!
All right. So I think the main problem that everyone has, everyone, no matter you like it or not, there is definitely one huge problem, and that is Finn and Rose's story arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want. I don't know. I don't know if like I don't want to like really cut you off or anything, but I just want to say, I think I'm in the minority in the fact that the only thing I didn't like was when Rose saved Finn. That was the
I
didn't
really like
that.
Stupid.
But-
If Finn would have died there, so much better.
I
That
would
was-
have
but
been like,
I
"Whoa,
think-
that was ballsy." If they
I
killed off Finn.
I think that I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this Star Wars movie is the longest Star Wars movie.
It is.
Yes,
you are
I
so
think-
2 minutes.
I think it's the longest, and it could have been like normal length without that whole story arc. Not only was the story arc just bad overall, and it led to nothing because they ended up not doing anything with it anyway, and they ended up failing. And it's just they spent so much time on them and that planet where it's like I heard someone say this in some podcast. What would have made it a lot faster is that you don't have to go find a tracker and make Rose useful and make Rose a hacker.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
I
that's
think that
what
was
they could have done with
It was
that.
it was the video game problem
Okay.
where you're on a mission. You have to go. Okay, you got to go break into a spaceship to destroy something. Oh well, you need the hacker code to get through that. All right, where can we get a hacker? Oh, I know someone. You call them. Oh, I can't do it for you, but I know someone else that's on another planet that you can go find them. All right, you go to the planet,
Yeah.
then you get like it's just video game problems.
It was
like
just too much.
yeah, you got to get another key for another door that's locked. Like
And
it's just kind of wasting time.
I also don't like how they pulled in this kind of like animal abuse kind of like theme to it, and it was kind of like with those horse things. It was like, oh, they treat people horribly on this planet, and it's kind of like we didn't really need that because all it really led to was the kid, and
Mhm.
I just think it could have been done like a lot shorter and a lot faster.
Yeah,
paced
you could have easily had at another point in the movie, walking past like during like an action scene, be like walking past the kid and you bump into him and then give him the ring or whatever, like in some sort of fashion like that. They were only with him for like a scene, and you only needed a scene to do that, and then at the end you could still have
Yeah.
that scene. 'Cause,
and then
when
it
you think
also
about it,
led
like-
to the cringiness of her and Finn, and I don't
Oh, the
like
kiss.
how. Well, yeah, that, but just like them in general, I don't like how there's now a love triangle sort of thing.
yeah, I think her saving him, I was like, oh no. Then she kissed him and I'm like, oh, come on.
Because it ruined the moment.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's cool
would've
what
been
they were
such a
trying.
powerful
What they were trying to go for was it's either Finn or this door, and it ended up at least the door ended up getting taken down. So it was like, okay, there was some sacrifice that needed to be made, but Finn would have been the better sacrifice to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But
would have
then
been
I guess
cooler to
also
me.
if Finn destroys that cannon thing though, then all the stuff with Luke and Kylo and
Yeah,
then, like, them
that's what I was about
escaping
to
and
get
stuff,
into. The
I
thing.
guess
Okay.
I don't know what else. Well, yeah, I'm almost done. I don't know what else they could have done to make that happen, but it's just the way that she saves him. It just ruins the moment for me.
The thing that I
Yeah.
would have suggested to clear up the ending there was, since Rose, all she is like some pipe cleaner or whatever the fuck, she crashes off and she like ends up like, she still gets really fucked up by crashing her pilot thing, that whatever she was driving.
Her pod
Finn
racer.
still pod
Yeah.
racer, yeah.
Now this is pod
Um,
racing.
Finn is still going
Good
to
joke, Chris.
like, he's going to
Thank
build
you,
up
Connor.
and still like go to sacrifice himself.
No problem, Chris.
Shut the fuck up. But
I'm on the opposite
anyways,
end of the stick this time.
Connor, I will fucking castrate you if you don't shut your fucking mouth. Okay.
Robbie, are you
Anyways.
ready to record?
Oh my god.
We
Alright,
agreed
let
that
him
we wouldn't
talk.
distract each other. Anyway, Finn would still go forward and he would still, build up like he was going to sacrifice himself. But instead of Rose stopping him, it'd be Poe, because that would be a big way of Poe realizing that you can't like be the big hero. You can't be a big sacrifice. You have to be the leader of the group. That'd be a big step in that direction. Not only that, but also later on when he realizes what Luke was doing, and to get everyone out of there. I think Poe would have been a greater person to stop that from happening, because he doesn't want Finn to sacrifice himself for something that eventually is
And
going
they
to
were
happen no matter
friends
what.
in Force Awakens.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you have someone that no one cares about save the day, and in a way that they wouldn't have wanted it to happen. It makes you like the character less.
Yeah, better
Yeah.
yet,
Also,
they could
fucking-
have just had Rose just fucking catapult herself in instead.
But fucking, like, those little
Or
pod
that.
ship things
Yeah.
were, like, so rickety, like, they were ready to break. Like, she fucking risked both her life and Finn's life by crashing right the fuck into him to get him out of the way. Like, she didn't know if she could actually get him out of the way in time, and even so, crashing into another ship that is, like, 100 years old or whatever, like,
Beat the fuck up.
yeah,
I
like,
have no idea how
you
Finn
both
didn't
could
get
have died
really
from
fucked
that.
up by that.
They
now
could
that I
have.
think about it.
They should have just had her smack him out of the way and be like, "I got this." Boom.
Yeah, like,
right
I
to the
get
game.
it was to reflect the idea that her sister sacrificed herself in the beginning, so it's like this time she doesn't want to see another person she cares about sacrificing herself, but, like, I'm also, listen, 2017, right? 2017, the year of, oh my god, this character's doing this big sacrifice type thing that they're like, oh man, this is so dumb of them, but they're, like, driven by emotion, oh my god. Okay, they just got randomly saved at the last second. Spoiler alert for Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4. Jamie fucking Lannister should, like, just what the fuck? Well, how could Bronn have fucking saved him from that shit? That annoyed me. And then I got vibes from that in this movie when that moment happened again with Finn and Rose. And then this actually I really like.
Not as much as Episode 4, but I think Episode 6.
Oh yeah, Episode 6 had another one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Episode 6, Robbie.
Yeah.
Fuck up.
And then, but I do think that the Star Wars Last Jedi had a little shout out possibly to Battle of the Bastards. When Luke Skywalker is facing off against the whole armada just by himself. Definitely got Jon Snow vibes facing off against the
yeah.
cavalry.
And then he just he stands up and then just brushes his shoulder. That
was
made
good.
me laugh my ass off.
But to get I want to get back and sort of play devil's advocate and kind of defend the whole casino fiasco thing that happened. So the reason why I didn't mind it and I thought it was fine was I could sense, watching it, it started to drag and it started to get a little slow in the pacing, and I understand that. That's not good. But in general,
I understand that that's a bad thing.
but in general, I feel like that whole thing, while it didn't amount to anything, it still had meaning. Because in the beginning of the movie, you can still sense that Finn he still had that cowardice in him. He was going to get the tracker and he was going to run and try to find Rey. And while he is doing something better than what he was doing in Force Awakens, he's trying to find Rey and connect with her again. In Force Awakens, he tried as much as he could to run away. And then this time, he was trying to run away to go find Rey to get her out of this whole situation. But no, when he went on that journey with Rose and he saw everything that happened on this planet, it was him realizing that things may look good on the outside, but that doesn't matter. Things are still messed up, but he can't run away from his problems. He learned that He doesn't have to run away from Phasma. He doesn't have to run away from the First Order in general. He was better because of it. And in general, it also helped Poe's story, because Poe on the cruiser, he was still trying to find his way from being the badass who likes to blow shit up to being the leader that he always wanted to be, the leader that wanted to take over for Leia when she was in coma, and the leader that when he found out he didn't get it, he was really disappointed. Mm-hmm. In general, I think it was good for both sides of it. Besides, like Rose was like, yeah, I didn't really care for her, but in general, like Poe learned a lot from this experience. So did Finn, and it helped both of their stories going forward. Because if Finn didn't go on that journey with Rose to the casino planet to go like do whatever they were doing, and like realize that there's so much bad in the world, but they're going for the good, he wouldn't have gone to sacrifice himself like he did. He wouldn't have done that at all. Like, he learned so much from that experience.
I also kind of want to build. I want to build on what Robbie's saying a little bit. I really like the moment when Laura Dern's character goes into overdrive and kamikazes.
That's because I've always had the question in my mind, like, if you're going in light speed, can you accidentally hit something?
Yeah, because in Force Awakens, they fucking land on a planet, and that's how they were able to get through the shield, was by landing on the planet in light speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like,
that was so good.
That question was never really answered for me. And then so it's like,
wait, hold on, what question you guys cut out for me?
If you go,
if you go in light speed, like, can you hit something? And then she just straight up murdered everyone, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. I love the execution of that too. Like, it didn't use any sound at first; it was just silence. Yep. Like the whole theater just went. Whoa.
And she was just an unlikable character until that moment, and she did something.
Yeah,
like that's what I'm saying. Like, also, Rose's save the day like made us mad, but that kind of save the day helped that character out.
Yeah. Do you think during light speed travel, like, do you think like randomly like someone just accidentally like murdered some people by smashing through them?
Yeah, or like when you go out
accurately, you can accurately like guide that shit because it's space, man.
Yeah, or like you're driving around on the highway 80 miles per hour and your windshield just gets like built up with gunk of bugs. So if you go into light speed, you go out of light speed, like you can't even see anything because there's just so many dead space bug sludge all over your screen.
What if she went into overdrive? What if she went in like what if she went into like did what she did, but she was just a little too far away, so she she left right before she was gonna hit the fucking the ships, and it was like, oh well, shit.
Didn't get up to 88 miles per hour in time.
I feel like you would just be. I feel like like light speed is just you're going super fast, and you would have hit it no matter what. You don't.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So when they're in light speed, they gotta avoid hitting fucking planets.
Yeah, I think
when
they map it,
it stresses me out. Like, honestly,
you can
or like asteroids.
Every time they go into light
you
speed
could end
from
up
now
in
on.
an asteroid belt. And
I feel like if you're going at light speed and you hit an asteroid, like it'll explode.
No,
like the ships did. Yeah. What I'm wondering is,
did you say like me? What?
No, like the ships did when she crashed into. What I'm wondering, I don't remember specifically because I wasn't too focused on whether she lived or not, because it was just an amazing moment. Did she live from that?
She's fucking.
No, she fucking died. Now here's a question
did she live, bruh?
Here's something that I heard somewhere.
There's no way in hell that she survived that. That's some Titanic
There
shit
may not have never been a purpose for that character. Like, they could have possibly not had the moment where Leia gets blasted into space and is put into a coma for most of the movie. Instead, have her basically be Laura Dern, and then she sacrificed herself by doing that. I think that would have been a really good way to send off the character Princess Leia, by having her fucking go light speed, taking out a whole armada. That kind of would have been nice, because I always kind of felt like, all right, who's this pink or purple haired chick? What's she doing?
Who's this blue bitch?
I actually want to talk about that because I think Laura Dern was set up for Poe, and I really liked Poe's character in this because in the beginning, the first scene, it's like Poe, you better listen, or Leia's talking, Poe, you better listen to me, come back now. He's like, no, we can do this, and then he blows shit up, and then she punishes him for it because it's like, you can't always just be that kind of guy. And then when Leia's in a coma, Poe starts to be like, he tries to do things his own way, and I like how he's all like, we have to do this, we have to do that, and we have to go blah blah blah, and then like sometimes like, no, you can't always do that, and his whole plan with Finn is this kind of like out of structure kind of plan where it's like, I'm not really following the rules here, but this is what we have to do. And then when Finn and Rose get captured, and then Laura Dern, you realize that Laura Dern had a plan the whole time. You realize, like, Poe was about to fuck everything up. And his way of thinking isn't always right. And then the ending to his story arc in the fucking Salt Planet is Luke comes by, and he realizes that Luke is there to buy time for them to escape. And he realizes that not every plan has to be go out, use all your guns, and fight and shit. Sometimes you have to think things strategically and subtly, and sometimes you just have to run.
Yeah,
I love how he realized that.
I do think that Laura Dern, like, rewatching the movie, I really, like, I didn't like Laura Dern right away. Like, I just felt something was off with her. I always thought she was a traitor, which is why they were able to track them through Lightspeed. That wasn't true. Okay. But, like, rewatching it, she's just a bitch to Poe right away. Like, Poe's not all right, what are we killing? Like, he goes up and it's like, all right, Captain, what's the plan? And she's, like, not looking him in the eye. She's ignoring him. And then she's like, oh, you want to know something? Like, oh, you want to ask me what you're going to do before you go out there? Because you're Captain, right? Princess Leia's last order was to demote you, right? It was like, holy shit. Like, chill,
she
bitch.
was kind of a bitch right away.
Yeah, like, I felt like she needed to fucking chill.
Fixed that whole thing was something that Jeremy Johns brought up in his spoiler review. His name's fucking leaving me. It's a trap.
Yeah,
I have him, not Laura Dern.
I have a
cool
major.
to have him do that.
I have a major qualm with this movie. Actually, there's one part that really pissed me off. They kind of just brush Admiral Akbar, a legendary member of the original trilogy. Like, his death is completely swept under the rug.
I mean, to be fair, he's not really that legendary of a character.
He's not really legendary.
He's a veteran.
Return of the Jedi, he has maximum, like, 3 minutes of screen time. He's barely.
Like, the only reason people love him is
beard
because
is
he
godly.
looks funny. The only reason people love him is because he looks funny and he says one of the most iconic lines. It's a trap. But then, like, other than that, it's just like, if you see him, you're like, oh my god, it's him. He's not really legendary. So for him to die like that, I didn't give a fuck about.
but I just don't understand.
It's
why,
a trap. Dead.
I wouldn't have understood. Like, I just didn't understand why it was just completely, like, it was almost like it was completely ignored. So
I think
he died.
They needed
because
to emphasize
that's how
more that
war is.
Yeah.
Something that
I wanted to touch on the whole Poe Princess Leia relationship, which sucks that now she's gone. That is one of the greatest relationships, other than Rey and Kylo, which I think we'll talk about later. But I think the Poe and Princess Leia relationship is so good, and I feel like going through, like, watching this movie, like, you could tell in the, like, first movie a little bit, even though Poe's barely in it, that, like, there could have been something there, but this one just completely just, like, showed that he's the son that she never had. Like, he filled that in, and it's like,
and he's the new Han Solo character, basically.
It's like really cool to watch that relationship and, like, see them, like, work together, and it's really, like, upsetting that
I think they're just going to skip the couple steps. Like, you can see in this movie that they're building so that he's going to become the new leader when General Leia is gone. So the next movie will just start years later. He's the leader. She's been gone for a while. Like, you get the point.
Yeah.
And it could work.
What I really like,
it's kind of, like, upsetting, you know.
What I really like
I think they had enough build up in this movie to make that work, though.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, because at the very end she says, "What are you looking at me for? Follow him." So that's pretty much passing on the torch.
Yeah.
What I really like about the way the Resistance was held up this entire movie was that the entirety of all the other Star Wars episodes, those films, the Rebellion, they always have, like, a prominent hold on things. Like, they always feel like, okay, like, we're fine. They're like, we're not, like, dying.
Yeah,
anymore.
there's. Yeah.
But this is the first movie where it's
like
they're reduced to, like,
Resistance
double-digit numbers.
Yeah, there is like no one left. There, you've got Major Schnoz, you've got Leia.
Major Schnoz.
Yeah, the lady with the huge nose. You've got
Oh
Poe.
yeah.
Yeah, we call her. Yeah, I didn't tell you that, Robbie. Her name is Major Schnoz. You can like, there's this one shot in the movie. I'm pretty sure you saw it. Her head is facing the opposite way of the camera, and as soon as like slightly, like a 10-degree turnaround, you can see her nose already. Like
In 3D, it's even bigger.
yeah, it's popping out and smacking you across the face. Yeah. So
All right, I think
I just wanted to give her a
people-
tissue.
I think a character people have been waiting for us to talk about is Luke.
Oh,
All right.
yes. Okay.
Luke
A lot can be said.
Skywalker.
So it's interesting because I was looking into it. Mark Hamill did not like how they handled Luke in this movie at all.
Yes.
No.
I think
He
I
did
think
not like it at all.
I think Luke Skywalker's death in this film is going to be something that a lot of people are going to have problems with. Like,
Really?
I think that it's going to be something
Yeah,
that
because it was kind of out of nowhere.
Wait.
a little bit.
Let's all like put our opinions out.
A lot
there.
of- a lot of
Did
my
we like
friends-
it? Did you guys like it or not? Because I love it.
I didn't
I like
mind it
his
that
death.
much.
Here-
I didn't
here's-
mind
I
it.
like it.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
I
about
like
it.
it.
A lot of my friends said that if he was gonna die, why didn't they just have him there to die instead of just dying out of like just dying off? Which is it's kind of like it depends. I did like that it was new and like he had this like he was basically using the Force as like this latched like ditch like and he used it all up and that's why he died. Which I liked. It's like he's given it all till the end, which I enjoyed. So I'm fine with that. Just it was like I don't know. I liked that change. That was cool. I think that use of the Force was really cool.
I mean, they set up that the
I
X-wing was under the water, so maybe he could have possibly gotten there. But I still kind of feel like Luke probably wouldn't have been able to really get there in time, or be able to land on that planet without the
All I know
First
is that
Order
something was up
destroying.
as soon as he pulled out the blue lightsaber that was already broken.
Yeah, or the
Yeah.
fact that his
And I
hair, he
think
had a
also-
haircut and his beard wasn't gray.
Yeah.
It was like something's
Also,
up.
it was a matter of
I
like,
like-
it was a matter of how do you think that would have gone down if he was like actually there in real life? Like the whole Kylo Luke then wouldn't have happened, the distraction wouldn't have happened, the Resistance would have literally died because there wouldn't have been a long enough distraction for the
Because
First
he
Order
would have
to
died
not
by
realize.
the AT walkers.
Yeah, it was like
He would have not brushed that
was
shoulder
point
off.
there was a point behind Luke doing that. Like I think Luke was handled fantastically in this movie. He
Yeah,
was
I
really
think
good.
Luke
What
was
happened?
cool
What
in this
happened
film.
with the ending? What I always thought about it, because at the very beginning of the whole Luke part, he says, "I came here to die, so just let me die." Blah blah blah. And he's been unhappy for a very long time. And after he died, Rey like looked at Leia and she's like, "I felt something," but it didn't feel like sadness or unhappy. It felt like peace. And I think when he finally reached a moment of peace is when the Force kind of allowed him to be done with his
Peace
life.
and purpose.
So
That's what happens with every Jedi.
He's been unhappy with ever since Kylo, and all that happened, and he's just been living on his own and just like fled and has just lived this unhappy life. And when he finally was able to think like, "I'm at peace now," is when he died.
All the Jedi that have come back to ghost form, that's what happens. They die with peace and purpose. Obi-Wan lived in exile and kind of was depressed for decades, and then he died fulfilling his purpose of passing on the torch to Luke. Yoda trained Luke, and by the time Luke was basically a Jedi and was ready for his final test that didn't involve Yoda, Yoda passed on. Darth Vader spent bad guy for decades and then finally fulfilled his purpose and killed the Emperor and realized that he could be brought back, and then he died. So Luke
got
this
bounced
time
to the Force.
living in exile just like Obi-Wan and Yoda and hating everything and being depressed, but then finally Rey comes back, gives him a purpose, and he fulfills that purpose. So that's
So
why he
I
passes
I
on.
really like how they handled Luke in this because
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
do
a
too.
lot of what this movie did was make you think you have to look past stuff. Because at the very beginning, I didn't like how he threw the lightsaber behind him. I was just like, "What the fuck?" That was like weirdly
That was a
comedic out
clear
of
grab
nowhere.
Yeah.
for a comedy.
And I
everybody
was like, I
liked
really
it.
don't like that. And he was acting like this weird, loopy kind of guy the whole time. But if you think about it, because it made me realize it when they brought back Puppet Yoda, which was awesome, by the way. But when they
Yes,
brought back
that was
Puppet
awesome.
Yoda,
Crowd-pleasing moment.
you learn that Luke became just like Yoda.
Yeah, I
'Cause
was
if
gonna
you,
touch
you,
on that.
you
I
think
think
you think
he's
about
a-
prequel. If you think about prequel Yoda, he's this like almighty person that like people go to for advice, and he's just like this stand-up fucking guy. And then when shit goes down, he flees too, and he like goes into hiding for however long it is. And then like when Luke finds him in episode 5, he's this weird ass fucking person, and he's like all loopy and shit. And that's kind of exactly what happened to Luke. And I thought that was poetry right there.
Something
It
like
was
that-
poetry,
I think
sort of.
that,
It
I think that
rhymes.
was good, but I think it was
Yes.
a little over the top. Not too bad, but I think you just kind of like because with Yoda he like.
Oh, I think Yoda was way more over the top loopy than Luke was in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yoda in Episode 5 is way more fucking loopy.
No, yeah,
I-
he's crazy. I don't know. It's just like with Luke, I don't know like what like the amount of loopy like was right. I don't know. I've only seen it once, so
I
don't-
think because I wanted to talk about the comedy in this movie because that's another thing that
yeah,
people have been
I
complaining
think
about.
overall,
Like I've been kind of like rewatching the movie. I definitely didn't laugh at the stuff that was funny before, and I kind of was like, meh. And it didn't help that
Yeah.
the crowd I was with wasn't the biggest crowd, so there weren't really laughs to be had. But like it's something about older movies, like especially the first two Star Wars movies, never tried to be funny. They never tried to appeal to a certain audience. They just told their story the way it was. It's not like Empire Strikes Back tried to be a dark Star Wars movie. It just was a dark Star Wars movie. Return of the Jedi was when they began the whole, oh, we gotta have Ewoks to be cute to the audience.
Yeah,
we gotta have Chewbacca go like Tarzan because it's funny, right? No,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up. And then in this movie, like Yoda, when he was loopy, it was funny. But it wasn't like that was done to be comedic. It was done to make you think this guy's definitely not a Jedi Master. He's just a cuckoo alien on this weird-ass planet. And then to find out he's a Jedi Master is the big twist. And that's what changes your view of what a great warrior is. In this movie, though, I feel like some of the things with Luke being kind of like loopy Yoda a bit was done for comedic effect, like the lightsaber throw. Or the fucking weird quadruple titty monster with the
Yeah.
udder, where he like squeezes it and it squirts out green milk. I was like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, like, he just like fucking wipes his mouth and shit. Like
Yeah, it's like
damn.
I get it. He's like on this island and he's living here for a while, so he knows the island and he doesn't care that it's weird. But sometimes just the execution, I feel like, is done for comedic effect. Like when the Rock goes falling and smashes on the aliens' fucking wooden cart. Like that moment, like you could do the movie and not have that moment. I think that's what it really means. If you have a moment that can be removed and it doesn't change anything about the story, then that is basically just a moment that's tacked on for a different reason than telling the
Yeah.
story. You
I
can't
felt
remove
that way.
any moment of Yoda being loopy because then that lessens the impact of the Yoda character.
I will
So-
say I totally understand why this was in the film, and I know why it was in the film so much, but it doesn't change my opinion that I honestly felt like the Porgs were really overdone. Like,
Rewatching
I don't
it,
think so, because I don't think there was
There
too
were-
much. I think the
there were at least a
trailers.
dozen
the-
shots.
Porgs.
I think the trailers overhyped them. It's
They
like,
did.
oh my god, what is this cute little thing? But in the movie, there weren't that much of Porg.
they,
rewatch-
they
I
were
did-
in the
honestly,
film.
I did
They
like
were
the
in the
scene
film
with
a lot.
With Chewbacca
Spencer,
eating them.
rewatching the movie, they really
Yeah,
were
that
in
was
the movie
funny,
a whole
Connor.
That was
They-
funny. See, that was good, and I was fine with that. And I'm fine with the comedy in the movie when it works. Especially like me and Chris talked about this. It works with characters that are meant to have comedy. Like Poe is meant to have like
Yes.
quips.
Yeah, I'll get into the sarcastic quip discussion because that's a big thing that I have a
Yeah.
problem with
Like, it-
basically
All right, well,
just Disney.
we should do that now then, because we have
Okay.
we're
Okay,
already
so-
50 minutes in.
Okay, so going
Wait,
along with the
wait, hang on,
comedy.
wait, hang on. We also have to have time to talk about Rey and Kylo. Don't forget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah,
get
that-
into the stuff that we
that
really
should be
like.
the last thing, though.
That's the stuff we really like. I think Connor, you like that stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the universally liked. So okay, the last thing, which I think is the biggest problem with, I'm just noticing this with a lot of Disney movies, and this is something that I really think started with the Disney Marvel movies. Like this started becoming a thing is the sarcastic quip. Jay Bauman of Red Letter Media, he actually pointed this exact thing out. Like after I saw Last Jedi, I was thinking about it, and then I watched their Last Jedi half in the bag review, and he said the exact same thing I was thinking. I was like, holy shit. So what this is pretty much every Marvel movie, every Disney movie nowadays, I notice this thing where any scene that has a large emotional response, whether it's fear or sadness or happiness or epicness or something, they always seem to insert a little quip, a little comedy moment, a little comedic moment to diffuse the tension. And it kind of gets rid of that emotional impact. The biggest example of this in Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker fucking comes back and sees Princess Leia for the first time. Brother and sister reunited, two of the most iconic, heroes of all time, finally reunited. It's this big moment. And the first thing that happens is Princess Leia says, I know what you're going to say. It's like, okay, I changed my hair. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
agree with that completely. Actually,
like, okay, the audience laughed. Okay, they worked, but at the same time, like, you kind of got rid of that moment a bit. Like, some characters are meant to have sarcastic quips. Han Solo has plenty of them in the original trilogy. Poe Dameron has plenty of them in this trilogy. So it's fine to have those moments to diffuse the tension, but it has to fit with the character. Han Solo is a character that doesn't like to be stuck in, like, this is an intense situation. You know, so he's going to make sarcastic quips to diffuse that. But when you have serious characters making quips like that, or like, this one I'm kind of iffy about. Kylo Ren and Rey, when they're connected through the Force for like the third or fourth time, she says, "I'd rather not do this right now," and he says, "Yeah, I wouldn't either." Then it cuts back to him, and he's shirtless, and then she says, "Can you like put on a shirt or something?" Like, it's kind of works, I guess.
That was kind of dumb.
It's just weird. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
like I read online that
definitely-
that moment actually could have worked really well because it was the first time we ever saw Kylo Ren kind of in a state of vulnerability. Like, he's fucking shirtless, like he just got out of the shower, this big badass guy, and now Rey is seeing him in a vulnerable state. Like, that kind of connects him further in a way. So I can see that, but again, they had to insert that comedy in there.
Yeah,
You know, like
Yeah,
every
also-
Marvel.
There's also other like little things that blatantly did not have to be in the movie at all, like the dry cleaning segment.
The dry cleaning segment, or the beginning with Poe stalling with General Hux, like
I didn't really.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. I like
that was a
either,
very
honestly.
no, that was a very 21st century joke that wouldn't
Yeah.
happen in a galaxy far, far away.
Honestly,
a long
yeah.
time
Like,
ago.
what I think, with a lot of the jokes, they only work in the first viewing in the movie theater. That's it. And if you make jokes that only work at that time, it ruins a lot. It doesn't work any other time because, one, you've already heard it, so it's not as funny. That happens with any joke. But like, it's always geared towards that like just group in a movie theater. That's how I felt with like the past Marvel movies. Like, Thor Ragnarok was like really funny, and it's geared towards like people watching in the movie theater. But I guarantee you, when I watch it again, I won't find it as funny.
I do find the Korg moment at the end where he goes those foundations are gone really pretty funny though.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a comedic character, but like,
But that's different. That's a
because
different
Ryan Johnson was saying that he inserted humor into the movie to make it less dark. Which, okay, but why
Like,
though?
I
Why
would-
can't you just
yeah, I would
let
want
it be?
more dark.
Empire Strikes Back is the darkest Star Wars movie. Like, people are saying this one's the darkest one. No, Empire Strikes Back is definitely the darkest
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah,
movie.
definitely
And
Empire.
it's the most popular one because it didn't try to do anything other than tell its own story. Like, A New Hope is great, but it is kind of a story that you have seen before. Even though people say that Force Awakens is a ripoff of A New Hope. A New Hope is a story that's been told plenty of times. Empire Strikes Back is a new story that definitely plays with different themes. So
I even think that there are some pockets of somber if there's kind of some sadness and dark like undertones in Force Awakens too. Like when Han dies, the fact that Chewie goes like, ah, like
Yeah.
like it
Yeah,
definitely felt
personally-
sad.
I would personally like. I think, I had a lot of fun with the comedy, and I think like in some sort of way it was like, it can kind of be seen as them trying to deal with what's going on. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to play like a little bit of devil's advocate, like just like to lighten up the mood, I guess. But I
I
get where
just
you're
don't
coming from.
think
That you
there's
don't
a
need it.
situation.
There's
I
not
just
a
don't
need
think
for it
there's
in
a
Star Wars.
situation where
Yeah.
that's
Like,
better.
you can put like, if you want to do that and like have like movies be funny, do it in another movie. It's not as needed in Star Wars.
Mm,
You can do with less. In this case, less is better, not more.
yeah.
All right, so some positives. I think-
Kylo Ren.
well, I guess-
Kylo Ren is the
Wait,
best
Wait.
thing.
Wait. Well, I think one person we need to talk about more before them is Snoke.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to quickly mention that Snoke's death scene in this film is my favorite scene of the entire film and maybe one of my favorite in the entire saga. That sequence was kick ass.
In
That was so
contrast
cool.
to that, Snoke's death is one of my least favorite things in the entire Star Wars saga.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm in the middle.
That's my biggest.
Connor, you can talk about why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my biggest disappointment with the movie. And I am not disappointed that he died. I'm disappointed that there was no development once again, and then he died. If he would have been developed, and we actually knew stuff about him, then he died, I would have cared more. But when he died, I didn't care. And you're supposed to care about a big bad, like.
I think the point is, though, the thing with this whole trilogy is that, like,
Oh yeah, and yeah.
so
and
far that, like, people can come from nothing. You don't have to. They don't have to be this big badass motherfucker for you to care about them. So I think Snoke dying like that was awesome in the sense that, like, it goes along with the theme of, like, it doesn't fucking matter. And I still think there's going to be some development that we're going to learn about him and Kylo Ren.
We gotta
in the
see.
next movie.
We've never seen a Sith come back from the dead in ghost form. I think we're gonna see Snoke back.
And
I just
I apologize if this is off topic, but one of my favorite things about The Last Jedi is actually the fact that Rey isn't Luke's daughter or isn't Obi-Wan's daughter. I love that. I love the fact that she really, like, it is just as simple as she was nobody. And she wasn't connected. Her parents were nobodies. They were losers, you know? And, like, I love that.
And I've come to, like, and I've, like, been able to be like, yeah, that's fine. And that works with this story. Because if that's what they're going with this, that's cool. But, like, if killing Snoke and not developing him is, like, trying to add to that, I don't think that worked. I wish
they're
they
not
just
done developing him, though.
Again, though,
he fucking died without you developing him.
Here's the thing, though. I think most of the problems that come with Last Jedi is overhyped. There's a lot of things that are overhyped. Rey's parentage is overhyped. The movies kind of hype it up a bit. Rewatching Last Jedi, it was sort of hyped up. But I really think it was the audience that had to overhype it. Like, if one person, like, the whole thing about, they brought back Ewan McGregor to say a dialogue for Rey when she touches a lightsaber in Force Awakens. That means she's connected to Obi-Wan because she talks with an accent. So I was like, okay, but that's just a theory. Like, that's not actually really hinted at in the movie. So that's overhyped. If you rewatch the original trilogy, Emperor Palpatine, he is not, you never really learn anything about him at all. Like,
really,
in A New Hope, you never hear about him. In Empire Strikes Back, you see him and you kind of hear about him, and you see the hologram scene, and it's very short, but you don't really know anything about it other than he's just some old dude in a hood who's really fucking evil, and he's the Emperor. Okay.
To be fair, though, in The Last Jedi, I feel like there was more of him, like, toying with them.
Snoke or Palpatine? Return of the Jedi or Last Jedi?
My fault. Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Like, there was. I felt like there was more toying with him, and, like, you could kind of...
He was toying with them, definitely, but at the same time, you never learn anything about Emperor Palpatine, even in Return of the Jedi. All you know is that he's the leader.
He kind of had as much, or Snoke had more screen time in the first two movies of this trilogy than the Emperor did in the first two movies of that trilogy.
Maybe. It's pretty close, but yeah, like, because, General Snoke, I think it...
I mean, well, that's not saying much. He wasn't in the first one.
Yeah. Well, General
Exactly,
Snoke...
that's what I'm saying. You're saying that there's no development with Snoke, but there was.
I think the problem is Supreme Leader Snoke was compared to Emperor Palpatine. Like, you can have the big bad guy one time. Every time you have a new big bad guy, they got to be different or better than the previous one. Like The Walking Dead, everyone talks about the governor was like this awesome big bad guy. And that's kind of true. And then a lot of people have a problem with, like, Gareth or Negan or that other chick. Like, you have these new big villains, and it just feels like bad guy of the week, villain of the week. Marvel movies, that's their biggest weakness, is they always have villain of the week.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think that was the problem with Snoke, is that he kind of just felt like another emperor. There was nothing special about him. I still think his death was
I'm
really
glad
good.
that he died. I'm glad that he's dead now, and that he's never going to live up to the Emperor, because it's like they couldn't have shown that, and it would have just been the same thing. And now it's Kylo Ren, who is so different from the Emperor, and now he's going to be the main villain of Episode 9. And I like that a lot
to me
more
is the
than-
star of he's the thing that drives this new trilogy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
and
think
I can
he
agree with
is
that.
the best part of the new trilogy.
Kylo Ren's the best character they've come up with.
I can agree with that. Like, literally, you don't have to make him be the Emperor. Don't have to make him be this, like, huge thing. I just wish there was just a little bit more. Like, just a little bit more. And then kill him off. Fine. Like, that works. Like, that works for the movie. But just a little bit more. Like, I don't think that like, was enough. And I don't think it was enough for a lot of people. That's why I read that a lot of people didn't like that. But, on the flip side, right after that, most favorite scene in the movie, right after my least favorite scene in the movie, the first time ever in a canon Star Wars movie that two red lightsabers have ever clashed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is fucking amazing.
This movie was a very red movie too. Like, it was all about the dark side. The poster is fucking red. The planet they land on at the end is red. You got red lightsabers clashing. The throne room where Snoke dies is red. Like, this was a very red, dark side Star Wars movie. They were really going for that theme. Oh, and then the title of Star Wars, like when the trailer was or the poster was released, was red instead of yellow for the first time ever.
Yeah.
It was like that for
Return of the Jedi. Okay, yeah, but it wasn't like the actual Star Wars logo. It was like the Return of the Jedi logo itself.
Yeah, I know. They did that for like branding and stuff, but not like for like the full.
The only other time I've ever seen it a different color was for Empire Strikes Back. I don't know if it was the trailer or the poster, but there was one image of the Star Wars font being in a light blue. I can't remember which.
That was I remember that. That was before like the whole logo was made though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So let's talk about the greatest part of this new trilogy.
Kylo Ren and
Definitely
Rey's
Kylo
relationship. Kylo Ren, just in
yeah.
general as a character.
He
Yeah.
is, I think, the most interesting part of the new trilogy. He feels like a Star Wars character, and he also it's like a perfect blend of it feels kind of original because it feels like the original trilogy because like the helmet and stuff like that, it kind of resembles Darth Vader a bit. Especially this is something that's cool when he smashes it. It kind of makes a Darth Vader like shape, the dent in the helmet. So it has a little bit of the original trilogy in there, but it also has a lot of originality to it, where you can tell he's conflicted. You can tell that there is a difference between Kylo Ren and Ben Solo. Like you can tell.
I think what this trilogy did well is fuck with us, but like it did it well. Like how they like in the beginning of Force Awakens, it's kind of like Kylo Ren is like, this might be the new big bad guy, and he's really just this troubled kid. And that's amazing. It's something new. It's not another Darth Vader. It's he's what he's trying to be, but he's definitely different than him.
Do you
And
think?
I think.
You
Go ahead, Connor.
I was gonna say, do you think if Anakin was more like this, like the acting wise, it would have been like? Do you think that would have been cool? Like him being like not like.
No, here's problem with Anakin.
There's too many problems with that.
Anakin needed to be almost like Obi-Wan. He needed to be a really cool good guy character that you believe in, and then you see his downfall.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been.
Troubled.
He can be troubled, but it has to be after he's been a really great Jedi, cool, good guy. You need to see the downfall. You can't just have him be an asshole right away, or you can't have him be deeply troubled right away. Because the emotional impact is how if you know the ending, which you do, you know he's going to become Darth Vader. If in the beginning he's a really great guy, that just makes all those scenes more painful to watch because you know it's all going to fall apart at some point. How's it going to fall apart? And then the downfall slowly happens, and you see him become troubled, and you're like, "Damn it! I wish he chose the good, but I know he's going to end up choosing the bad."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was kind of known all along, and just right away they were like, "Yeah, he's troubled." It's like, "Oh, okay." So
Yeah,
that's
and then
just how
George
he was his whole life.
Yeah, and then they made him a whiny asshole too. It was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
overall, that Snoke scene was incredible for me. I love that. I love the fight. You just know
The
shit
fight was
goes
fucking
down.
good.
The fight
That-
was
The fight
one of the
was
best. One of the
amazing,
best
yeah.
choreographed Star Wars fights.
And
history.
Kylo Ren with the kill of the fucking saga, where he caught it and went.
Oh yeah.
He literally turned it on and off in a blink.
He turned a light switch on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he like shot him basically.
I think
is-
my
which is
favorite
badass.
sequence of this movie is between Kylo and Rey at the end of that whole fight, because I love how you see how they want the same things but in different ways. They want to work together, but Kylo Ren wants her to turn, she wants Kylo Ren to turn, and I love how this whole thing kind of focused a little bit on Rey might be going to the dark side, but in the end they kind of were like, she never really did. She never really had a thought about that at all. But I love how it's more of that. This is more about Kylo Ren possibly turning, not Rey.
Yeah.
And I honestly see more similarities between this film and Return of the Jedi than I do with this film and Empire Strikes Back, because it kind of relates to the idea that Darth Vader said Darth Vader said to Luke when he said, "We can rule the galaxy as father and son." Like,
yeah, and I agree with the whole fucking with you thing, Cannon, because you really didn't know like who's gonna turn here. Like,
Yeah.
You could argue at some points that the one or the other was slowly like kind of flipping.
they
Yeah, this
fucked with
movie-
you, making you think that Rey was going to turn, but it's really Kylo who's more on the fence.
People were afraid that this movie was going to be a retread of Empire, like Force Awakens was a retread of A New Hope, but it surprisingly had elements from like all three movies that made it different. Like the
Yeah.
Hoth-like battle at the end, it's Empire-y. The very beginning starts with the First Order in power, and they're about to storm the Rebel base. Okay, that sounds like the beginning of Empire. And then of course
the Rey
Rey-
sequence.
Yeah, Rey going to
Yeah.
train with the Jedi Master, who's a hermit. Yep, got it. But then
but
also the
also-
entire throne room stuff, all the stuff of Kylo Ren can be redeemed. All that is Return of the Jedi type stuff.
Well, the biggest shining example for me with connection to Empire was actually
When she goes and sees herself.
Yeah,
in the-
when she sees
Yeah.
herself. That reminded me.
That
of
was.
the
I think
whole-
that honestly is the biggest one, other than the Hoth-esque battle. Like that's like more or less like really just Empire feels. But I don't think that was a real problem in this movie. I don't think that.
Yeah.
no,
you
I
never
thought
really-
the sequence worked.
Yeah, I don't think you ever like felt like, damn, this is a retread, because it was really like not for the same reasons, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
and-
this definitely took risks. Like, it definitely took risks.
Oh yeah. I
And-
fucking love Luke facing off against the Armada and fighting Kylo Ren facing off against
Oh.
it. Like this movie was beautiful looking. Like there was,
It was
a lot
awesome.
of amazing images. Rewatching, I noticed there's a lot of
yeah.
like one shots where one camera movement is able to accomplish a lot, and there's a lot going on in that shot. There's just a
And
lot
they
of
did
good
they
shit.
did a lot. They did a lot of small things that like messed with your head, like how Luke in the fight on the salt planet made sure to never step on any salt because
Yeah.
he knew if he stepped on the salt, then the salt would go away and turn red, and then it would be known that like he's not actually there because he wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, Kylo
Oh,
Ren
fuck.
charging at him. Kylo Ren
I-
charging at him was so cool when he just like when he fucking like stabbed him and it just went right through and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that
think it was badass when
huge.
he did his little like duck under it. When Luke like just ducked under it and like was doing this acrobatic shit. Like damn.
yeah, that was the most badass fight that didn't have much of a lightsaber fight, and I still like got chills and stuff, and it was still badass.
Oh yeah, like that's what
'Cause
Yoda
I
fighting
was like,
should have
Luke's
been.
coming back.
If you're
Awesome.
gonna have Yoda fight in the movies, which well, everyone loves when Yoda fucking whips out a lightsaber and does fucking fighting in the prequel trilogy, I still think it's fucking stupid. Watch
Oh,
Mr.
yeah,
Plinkett's
it's so
reviews if you
stupid.
want to know why it's fucking stupid. He goes into great detail. But Luke fighting against Kylo Ren, that worked because he never actually attacked at all. He just dodged. Their
Yeah.
blades never clashed. He never attacked at all. It was purely just distraction and avoiding death.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That whole scene. I want to also point out the first, I would say, hour of this film. I thought it was good, but I was like, okay, nothing has really happened yet that has made me go like, oh shit, that is so epic. But the last like hour of the film, last hour 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I think are just awesome. Like
From
awesome
Snoke
stuff.
dying and on, there's nothing really like that you can leave for.
Yeah,
Like, because I was thinking, like, I have to pee pretty bad, but I can't fucking leave, and I
You can
felt
pee
that way.
during Finn's arc. That's it.
Yeah.
I think I just love I love the whole thing between Luke and Kylo Ren. Like as soon as Luke is
Yeah.
heading out there, and the moment Kylo Ren just says stop, because he sees it, and then he says, "I want every blaster we have aimed on that man."
On that motherfucker.
Yeah, and then
I also
all
really
the blasts happen, and this one kind of works. Like it honestly wasn't too funny, but it worked. Was when General Hux said, "Do you think you got him?" Like that kind of worked. That's an example
Yeah.
where I think it sort of works as a
Yeah.
comedic moment.
I also
And
really
then-
liked like right before that I was actually gonna say when he like just throws Hux against the wall and then because when Hux is giving
Yeah.
orders,
Do it.
and then he throws it across the wall and and then the officer right in front of him without a flinch is like right away sir, and then he just
Yeah.
presses the button.
Well,
No,
Force
that was
Awakens.
it.
Every time Kylo Ren gets pissed off, it works. Force Awakens, that worked as a comedic moment when he whips out his lightsaber and just slashes up a bunch of different shit for no
The,
reason. Like
the
right-
funniest moment is when
Yeah.
the two stormtroopers are
Yeah,
walking
yeah,
by
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're like, "Oh shit, Kylo's mad again. Better leave."
if it was Darth Vader, like okay, they have a similar moment in Empire Strikes Back when the guy or who escapes, some fuckers escape. I think Han Solo escapes, right? He gets
Yeah.
past the asteroid belt, and it was like Darth Vader said, "Find Han Solo and get him," and then they get away. And the guy goes over to talk with Han, and he just stops and he like clears his throat. Like you just see the look on his face. You're like, oh fuck, he knows he's gonna die, and he does. He dies. But it's like that's funny, not trying to be funny, but it works in that scene. Because you know Darth Vader's a scary motherfucker. In The Force Awakens, they kind of do a similar thing, but semi-reverse. Because there, the Stormtroopers know, shit, he's fucking pissed. Let's just not go talk with him. Because Kylo Ren wants to be Darth Vader, wants to be scary and intimidating, but instead of just being intimidating, he gets mad and slashes that shit with his lightsaber. It helps with his character while also being kind of funny. That's an example where it works.
I'm excited for Episode 9 because now that there's no... Snoke, there's nothing in his path now. Kylo Ren is going to be the unhinged badass leader that I know he can be, and I'm so excited.
I think he's not going to be a leader. I think the end of Last Jedi set it up as he is not going to be in power for long because everyone is afraid of him.
He's flawed.
Yeah, he's uncontrollable. General Hux is trying to stop him from being leader. Like as soon as Kylo Ren's barking orders and General Hux comes in, don't shoot that guy. It's like, okay, I just said that, fine. But like I see Kylo Ren as like losing everything. And
I think the Knights of
completely
Ren
on his own.
I think the Knights of Ren are definitely coming back because
Weren't the Knights of Ren the Red Guard dudes at the end?
No, I don't think so. Because remember in The Force Awakens,
are part of the slaughter of the village that Rey sees in her vision, and just slaughtering the Jedi Temple. With Kylo Ren.
I think they will come
where
back.
They are. They never explain that, which is
Well, I thought that was them because fucking.
I think they'll come back.
No, those are just fucking badass bodyguards. Oh, also amazing shot. Probably my favorite shot of the movie, or like series of shots, is when Rey comes up and like force grabs a lightsaber, and all of them do their weapon taunt Johns, and it's like close and stuff, like with a whip and like it's just fucking orgasm.
Yeah.
Orgasm.
Now we are running a little bit low on time, but there are some things I want to talk about, so we can do kind of like a lightning round.
Yeah.
Phasma.
Go.
Captain Phasma.
Total fuck up. Total fuck up.
Waste of
That
space.
goes back to the overhypeness. They overhyped Captain Phasma in interviews, in trailers, and she ended up kind of being like a Boba Fett character, like barely in it. She looked kind of cool, and then fucking died for no reason. They shouldn't kill her off. Should have made her a better character.
I wanted to say that when her eye got revealed during the movie, I said, I am Brienne of Toth.
Brienne of fucking Toth.
I'm Brienne of Toth.
All right, next.
All right. DJ, aka Benicio del Toro's. Benicio del Toro's character.
Should have not been in the movie.
Stupid.
Should have had Rose be the hacker.
Fun fact: he was going to be Darth Maul in Phantom Menace.
Oh wow.
I think it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't hate him.
It got them to the cool fight scene where Finn.
But that just another thing that proves that entire arc was pointless because they got him and then they
It
didn't achieve the goal that they were doing.
It wasn't pointless. It had meaning behind it.
He literally disappeared.
But Robbie, they can accomplish the emotional arcs that they're going for while also having a story that makes sense and has purpose.
Yeah. The only thing that was purposeful of that was the kid.
It makes it less emotional.
Yeah, the only thing that was purposeful with that is getting the kid with the force broom at the end.
No,
easily you can insert that with like a 5-minute, like put in a 5-minute scene, shorten the movie length, or just have another arc that we fucking care about.
Everything I said about Finn and Poe's storyline earlier,
that has nothing to do with Benicio del Toro's character.
Like,
I didn't like him or hate him. I didn't mind him.
Another thing I wanted to quickly touch on. Now, we barely saw this character in the film, but I'm just wondering what this character is going to do going forward. Is Maz Kanata?
I knew you were going to say that.
Who is that?
The butthole lady, butthole eyes.
Big eyes. She was
butthole
eyes.
eyes.
She was on the hologram and she was fighting.
Butthole lady.
I meant butthole eyes.
Butthole lady.
Butthole eyes. Her eyes, they look like buttholes, okay?
Butthole lady.
God damn it.
What if Finn just like calls her up and be like, butthole lady, Maz?
I think she's
I
gonna,
don't think she'll be too important.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be too important, but I think she'll like sort of resurface in episode 9 a little bit. I don't know.
All right, what else, Spencer?
Other lightning round. John Williams music.
Yeah, John Williams music.
Always
It was
amazing.
really good.
It was really good. I would say that this music this time
This
around
music
was
can't
is
say
better
it's
than
bad.
Force Awakens. Better than Force
yeah,
Awakens.
I will
Yeah.
say that too.
I fucking love they brought back when the Millennium
Oh,
Falcon's
yeah.
flying around in the mines. I like that. That's lit.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon, by the way, has
when
some
it's like the
great
sped up.
scenes.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
last
the
thing I
sped
want to
up
say,
is dope.
the last thing I want to bring up in our lightning round, but this, if you guys want to talk about this for longer, then that's totally fine because I feel like there is stuff
Probably
that needs to
not.
be said about it. I know that a lot of people are upset about the fact that J.J. Abrams is returning for episode 9, but if you want to know what I think personally, I'm not worried at all. Like I said,
no, yeah.
Force Awakens was my favorite film of 2015, so if I'm supposed to be worried about this, no.
I'm not worried. I'm actually excited.
Yeah,
I'm
can't
excited.
wait for J.J. Abrams. to
I'm
come
excited.
back.
I think he can close it out strong.
It
And
I
I
also-
just hope he gets.
Force
I hope he gets the best of both worlds with Force Awakens and
Yeah.
or with himself and Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. Let's just cap this off with where we would rank it in the series.
All right,
right.
Connor, you go first. So, give.
And,
So,
and- wait,
in
where are we
in the
ranking
rank
series?
in the ranking system of a 1 through 10, text on screen, I guess, or whatever. Of,
Actually, first
How we
I
rank
want to do. I want to rank it throughout all the other Star Wars
Yeah.
movies. I think
Yeah.
that'd be great.
oh,
Rank it
Kush.
throughout all the other episodes, and then do
Yeah.
the ranking system.
Ooh, I don't have that in my list.
Can,
Do you-
can I
Alright,
leave out
well-
the prequels? Because it's been a decade since I've seen them.
No.
Here, I'll just I rank here. I know my order of them. So
I know my order,
My
too.
order. Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are tied at the bottom at a 4 out of 10.
Well, no,
I-
don't say the number yet.
Well, it
We're
doesn't
gonna-
matter.
Well,
Well, what do I fucking?
well,
Just
Alright,
do the
just
order.
keep going.
Just do the
Just
order
okay.
of the movies. Just do the order of the
Phantom
movies.
Phantom Menace at the bottom. Attack of the Clones next, barely. Probably next would be Revenge of the Sith, and then Rogue One. Maybe flip them. They're pretty close. Then next would be Return of the Jedi. Then it would be The Last Jedi. Then probably Star Wars, the original, A New Hope, and then Force
New Hope.
Awakens, and then Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
okay, Robbie, you know your order.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know my order too.
Okay, go ahead.
Attack of the Clones at the bottom, then Phantom Menace, then Revenge of the Sith, then surprisingly, Return of the Jedi, then Rogue One, then The Last
Wow.
Jedi. No, I'm sorry. Then Force Awakens, then The Last Jedi, then no. Fuck. Okay, hang on. I keep messing this up.
So, Robbie, what's your list?
Hang on. Force Awakens, A New Hope, Last Jedi, Empire.
Wow.
All right, for me, obviously there's gonna be some differences here. We got Phantom Menace,
You-
Attack of the
You
Clones,
like the prequels?
Rogue One, Last Jedi,
Really?
Wow.
Revenge of the Sith,
Connor's a fan of Revenge of the Sith.
fucking then New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Empire.
Whoa, so you prefer Return of the Jedi over A New Hope?
Yeah, and I forgot Force Awakens. That goes before New Hope, or yeah, before.
All right.
So third.
So here's
Yeah.
so here's my list from worst to best. So at the bottom is now I should also mention that I haven't seen the prequels in forever, but anyway, here we go.
Okay.
Attack of the Clones at the bottom, then Phantom Menace, then Revenge of the Sith, then Rogue One, then Last Jedi. I've only seen it once. Return of the Jedi. I just have so much nostalgia for that film. I'm sorry. Star Wars, the original. Then second place, Force Awakens, and then lastly, my number one is Empire Strikes Back. I mean, it's just you can't get any better than Empire.
Yeah.
Camden.
My list would go at number 9, Phantom Menace. Number 8, Attack the Clones. Number 7, Revenge of the Sith. Number 6, Rogue One. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Number 4, Number 4, The Force Awakens. Number 3. I think right now I'm gonna say The Last Jedi is at number 3. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 1,
Yeah, I have
Empire.
Force Awakens at 4 too. By the way.
Yeah.
Wait, so you prefer Last Jedi over Force Awakens?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I the only one that prefers Last Jedi over Force Awakens?
Did you not just hear what he said?
Well, I
That's-
literally just fucking said.
I'm sorry. I
So
thought,
you prefer
I
Last
thought
Jedi over
Chris
Force
said it the
Awakens?
other way.
Wow, am I the only one?
You're the only one that puts Last Jedi at number 2.
Wait, so am I the only one that puts Empire at number 1?
Am I the only one who's allowed to follow the rules?
All right,
Oh,
bye.
you do, Spencer? All right. No, we're not done yet, butthole face. You should get married to her.
All right.
All right,
so,
so,
okay.
ranking
Connor,
on 1 through 10.
1 through 10, what would you rank Last Jedi?
I rank The Last Jedi 6.
All right, not
Really?
bad. Literally.
That's what we have a name for every rank number.
Yeah.
It's
So,
on the
so
screen,
let's say the
Camden.
number
Can you
and-
not
and
see
what
it?
it is. So mine is a 6, not bad.
Okay.
Who's
Oh,
that,
it's me. Yeah. Last Jedi, I'd rank it a 7.5. I found it enjoyable.
Me, I'm gonna give it a 7 right now. I like it. I think that it has some issues, but overall, I like it, and I feel like in time it might change and it might get better for me or worse. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump the gun a bit. Ah,
11.3.
Fuck yeah.
I think I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
So
Because-
wait, what does that mean?
It means love.
No.
It sounded so gay.
You could have said I love it, but instead you went,
ruined
it means
so- like,
love.
what does 8.5 mean to you?
But the reason I
Love.
put it, the reason I would put it at 8.5, the reason I would jump the gun and put it that high is because with all the changes they did, I appreciate after Force Awakens. I appreciate all the changes they did, but I think they masterfully put in new changes, new references to the old ones, right? Or not new, sorry. Just like referencing the old movies. They put in new changes. I like that there's differences in the Force now. I like that they can come back 30 years later and say, there's some new shit we can add to it.
That is
and
true.
I love
All the new
theme-
shit of the Force was
I
cool.
love all the new themes, like with Poe, similar to Han, but also with his relationship with Finn, and like how like everyone had their own little story arc here. Poe and Finn and Rey and Kylo and everyone, and I just think they led to 9 perfectly. And the only thing that holds it back is that one story arc, but I think that may be the only thing that holds it back for me. So then other than that, like, I thought it was absolutely amazing and, like, possibly Empire level. Well, okay, nothing's ever Empire level, but the next tier down.
Okay. So wait, real quick, what's Empire then 1 out of 10, just for comparison?
A 9.
Okay. You really love that.
Holy
All right.
shit!
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then
the
Robbie.
reason that's so shocking to me is when I look at Chris's list and how little films have a 9. Like it's just.
I'm
mean-
more strict than Cam.
I mean,
We're,
little
we're all
films-
more lenient. with
Little
our
films
9s
have a
and
9 for me
9.5s.
too. Little films have a 9 for me too, but Empire is like in my
Yeah.
top 10.
Yeah, Empire is one of the best movies of all time.
Empire is in my top 10 movies of all time, and it's still an 8.5.
Yeah, I have more than 10 movies being 9 or more.
Probably gonna get a little flack for this one, but I'm gonna give it a 9. I really love this movie.
Holy fuck.
Dang.
I really love The Last Jedi.
Whoa.
I was contemplating whether an 8.5 or a 9, but I read it in my
You have
mind.
to
I
fucking
really
top
You
love The Last Jedi.
literally fucking tripled me.
No, more like a
No.
33% higher.
You mean he
Yeah.
times 2/3?
All right, guys.
Technically, he's 50% higher.
He
than
he
Connor.
tripled and
I
divided
tried to
by
do
2.
math here and I fucked it up. I meant like he plus 3 to me.
Cool. Well, much like the actual movie, this review is going on too long, so time to say goodbye, everybody.
Whoa!
Bye bye. Thank you all for watching.
Bye, butthole face.
That took me a while to get it.
That was horrible.